There's been a fascinating couple of nights in the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Elon Musk on topics that we were all learning about. I think, it's interesting that Tucker Carlson said, for most of us, the experience we've had with AI, actual artificial intelligence, has really only been about 3 months. But he was asked really directly about not so much like 20 years into the future, but how is the AI that we're starting to all interact with, at least on like a let's see what it does basis, so whether it's ChatGPT or a lot of the AI art I see, and some of that just get concerned about who's taking my data. And I think this is the interesting point of the interview. It was, how does this affect immediately our elections? Because Tucker said, like, when could it start? Because all of us kind of asked, when do you think it would actually make an impact? And he said, this election cycle, take a listen.
I mean, if democracy is, government by the people, each person's vote is equal to every other person's vote. I mean, and people are choosing their votes freely. Can you have a democracy with this?
Well, that's why I raised the concern of AI being a significant influence in elections. And even if you say that AI doesn't have agency, well, it's very likely that people will use the AI as a tool in elections. And then, if the AI is smart enough, are they using the tool or is the tool using them? So I think things are getting weird, and they're getting weird fast.
I think that is a big concern. I think there are some tells people can kind of identify, but unless you're really kind of active, meaning like you're having work with AI, like now that I've done some work with it, I can identify it pretty quickly, whether something's been written in AI. Now that is the consumer level free-based version. When that gets beyond that, and it gets a little bit more detailed, and it gets a little bit more structured, and there's a little bit
for a version that's specific to your needs.
Yes, and I've done that before. It gets much better, and it gets much more exhaustive to figure it out. You can also kind of look in, when you start now Googling things and saying stories, you realize, oh, none of this is being written by a person. You can start telling. However, that's the extreme minority. And that's what's coming up first, because the SEO is so good, the search engine optimization, because it's created by artificial intelligence for the exact purpose of search engine optimization. And that's where the election interference could get wild.
Right. And I think that's what he's saying when he says, are you using the tool, or is the tool just taking from you and ultimately using you?
Yeah.
So every time you're putting something into AI and then you're having to maybe ask a follow-up or a secondary question or a third question, next time around, you won't need to ask the follow-up or the secondary or third question. And at what point is it, but we know the Chinese are programming their AI to be pro-socialist, to never attack the Chinese state. So there is a lot of human involvement in the beginning stages, but ultimately you will lose control. I mean, he even talked about how do you shut it off when it's online, and you've got to have some kind of kill switch that we all agree upon. At this moment, we're shutting it off.
And how even does that work?
He even said, like, at some point, it'll reject their passwords. It won't let you turn it off. It won't let you code it to stop. And again, they're huge concepts, but they are issues we're going to have to deal with in this election cycle.